Let's get friends.
That's cool.
So you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let it go down, guys. Watch out for the ceiling right here and watch that going down.
Way back then, the entirety of Florida used to be submerged, and in that sea was a lot of marine life. And whenever that marine life passed away, the remains would sink down to the ocean floor. And over time, those remains would accumulate and eventually compress in with a sedimentary rock known as limestone, which is what this cavern is primarily composed of. Now, eventually, the ocean over Florida receded, and then cavities, small openings, began to form inside the limestone. And this is where the cavern emerged from. Once the cavern got big enough, formations began to appear, which we will see plenty of along our tour today. Now, if you look down there, you'll see our basement. This is the first room I'll show you all today. It is the deepest point of the cavern. It's about 65 feet below the surface. Now, luckily for us, we're not actually going to have to go down there into the basement and trudge through all that mud and water. Instead, we are going to take an alternate route, lovingly called the tuck and squeeze. It's not as bad as it sounds, trust me. Now, remember y'all, as you make your way through the cavern, please watch ahead, watch your step, and be very, very careful as you make your way through. As if you don't, you could very easily get injured by something, either something hanging low down from the ceiling or a slippery spot on the ground. So, again, as y'all make your way through the cavern, stay vigilant at all times. Okay, everybody? All right, then on we go. Couples actually come down into the cavern and get married, typically in this room. Yeah, we host about 2 to 3 weddings a year. And if the couple, again, choose to be wed in this room, they can get married on top of this altar right here, which I'm standing on top of. Married right in front of the wedding cake, right here. This type of information, as well as the pipe organs right beside it. These two formations are what inspired that tradition to begin with. Now, those two formations and all the other formations that we'll see on our tour today, they are formed by water seeping down from the surface. When the water seeps down to the ground, it will collect minerals as it goes. And then, once the water reaches the inside of the cavern, the water will evaporate, depositing the minerals, which slowly builds up a formation. Generally, the water seeps down from the ceiling first, which introduces us to our first and most common type of formation known as dripstone. Now, dripstones are commonly seen dotting the ceilings of many of the rooms inside the cavern. They are also hollow in the middle, which easily lets water pass through, so they are almost always dripping, hence the name. Eventually, dripstones will grow up into stalactites and close up in the middle, like you can kind of see over there. Now, the stalactite closing up will not stop the water. The water will continue to drip down the stalactite and eventually hit the ground, slowly building up a stalagmite. And eventually, a stalactite and stalagmite will get to know each other and grow attached, literally, merging in the middle to form a column, as you can see there. And that is what the wedding cake is. Now, that was a rundown of the more basic formations that you can see inside a cavern. But basic is not all this place has to offer, as sometimes the water can flow in more interesting ways, which can create more unique formations. Like, for example, the drapery, as you can see here. Now, draperies form when water runs along a single path down a slanted surface, slowly building out a thin sheet of limestone. Draperies go by many nicknames, like curtains, bat wings, elfin ears, and even my personal favorite, cave bacon.
How fragile are those?
Very fragile. Not only are they very thin, but they're also made out of limestone, which is a more fragile material than most other kinds of rock.
And you can see like there's already like a bunch of like shattered pieces.
A lot of broken pieces. All right, everybody, we're going to make our way forward to the next room now. Please watch your head and watch your step as you make your way through. Some of y'all may be surprised to learn that the limestone down here inside the cavern is almost always moving. We just don't notice any of that movement because the limestone is moving incredibly slowly. It's still limestone after all. But the constant shifting of the limestone can sometimes put pressure on the formations here, which can sometimes lead to an event known as a fracture, as you can see right up there. Now, the floor in this room many years ago moved down just a bit, which snapped these formations clean in half. We call this room the fracture room because of those fractured formations. Now, luckily, fractures like these are not permanent, as given enough time, they can grow back together, making a line going through the middle, like you can see right there in that pale-looking formation. Now that I pointed it out, some of you may have been wondering why some of the limestone here is so off-color to begin with. Like, why is that formation so pale? Well, sometimes because of a formation's coloration is the type of mineral being deposited down into them. Like in that case, that pale-looking formation is being colored by a mineral known as calcite, which comes from seashells and bones from the surrounding area. There's also a few other examples of mineral coloration in this room, like right up there. You can see some rusty dripstones, which are being colored by iron, deposited down from clay. And if you look right over there, this muddy-looking formation is being colored by a mineral known as manganese, which comes from the topsoil. You can also find manganese in the cave water down here. So I don't really suggest that you drink any of the cave water in large quantities because, as it turns out, manganese can act as a very good laxative if you take too much of it. And we do not need any more formations down here. We're stocked up. All right. Now, the fun little fact about this room was that it was not always called the fracture room. Back then, this room was instead called the Donald Duck room. And that was because of a formation that happened to look like a duck. Right here. See it? There's the head with the beak poking out in front. Then you have the body in the middle. And even a little flipper right there on the bottom. It's also casually wrestling an alligator. Florida's most favorite pastime. All right. So, y'all, we can go ahead now and make our way to the next room. Again, please watch ahead and watch your step as you make your way through.
It's kind of short in here. Just hit my head.
So, before we head on to the next room, I want to pull off a little party trick for y'all. This party trick of mine will allow us to see what a cavern normally looks like. Just with a flick of this switch right here. All right?
We'll reach into full darkness in 3, 2, 1. This is what a natural cavern looks like with all our fancy LED lights in it.
Way back in the day, there actually used to be workers who came down here into the cavern, who were hired by an organization known as the CCC, which stood for Civilian Conservation Corps. The workers would come down into the cavern with pickaxes, shovels, and other tools to dig up the limestone. And then the workers would lay down a path of cement through the cavern. So you have them to thank for making this place traversable. Now, the workers would also use lanterns, carbine lanterns, to light their way forward. However, their lanterns were not very strong. They only emitted the same amount of light as a lighter would, just directed forward. So about, let's see here, about this much light, roughly, which is not that much light, all things considered. Now, the workers, funnily enough, had a little party trick of their own that helped alleviate this issue. And this party trick of theirs were dinner bowls, which they would stick up inside the ceiling using clay, like this one right up here. After the workers got the dinner bowls put up inside the ceiling, they would proceed to put their lanterns right up next to them, causing the light to be reflected back down to the room, making it brighter overall. This idea was so good that they basically used it throughout the entire cavern. There's about 64 bowls in total, scattered throughout almost all of the rooms. That's what those white things were up in the ceiling. Pretty cool, huh? The guy who figured that out probably also got a raise right afterwards. Okay. So, now y'all, we can go on ahead and make our way to the next room. Please be careful though. Watch out for that brown spot right there on the ground, as it's a tripping hazard, okay? So...
Never mind. It's a spider.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a spider?
There's something you do not see every day in this cave, a wolf spider.
Yep. Going
He's
over
very
there.
much out of his element, so you do not get to see one of these things every day down here.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take it home with me and give it to her.
Alright. So, everybody, this room is called the Waterfall room. It got that name because of the big floating formation to my left here. That kind of looks like Jabba the Hutt if you squint your eyes hard enough. Now, if enough water comes down from the surface, it can actually sometimes be physically seen flowing over this flowstone and hitting the cascading brimstone pools below, creating a waterfall effect, which is what gave this room its name. Now, if you think that's cool, there's actually a lot more cool stuff in this room that you can find, which I'll just go ahead and let y'all do. Feel free to explore around this room for a little bit. Take some cool photos, make some good memories. I don't really mind. Just make sure not to go into the Forbidden Tunnel, which is down there. Otherwise, feel free to look around.
Yeah, what's in the place that we can't go? Yeah, now we want to know.
Bro, I'm so cramped in here. So you catch a frog.
And you look at the wall, right over there, you find the Caverns Heart, right there. It's that heart shape in the wall.
Oh, that's so cool.
The Caverns Heart. Now, the cavern has a very, very big heart. It has a lot of love to go around, even. So that's why, whenever a water droplet lands on you down here inside the cavern, that's what we call a cave kiss. That basically means the cavern likes you. And if you actually manage to get 3 cave kisses, then that means the cavern really likes you. And you get good luck for the rest of the day. So, who knows? Maybe if you earn enough kisses, you'll be able to win the lottery as soon as you get out. Only takes 1 ticket, you know? And if you do want to acquire some extra cave kisses, you can get them along this pathway here, which will be leading us to our next room. This pathway is known as the Enchanted Forest. Very enchanted. Now, do be careful as you make your way through. Watch out for stalactites hanging overhead, as well as 2 large holes on the left of the path, okay? So please, watch your head and watch your step as you make your way through. So, buddy, this room here is a very important room in the cavern, mainly because this was the original discovery point of the cavern, the first room to ever be found. Into this room, and by extension, the cavern was discovered by a man named Oliver Shalafo, way back in 1937. He found the cavern here after a storm at the park, which uprooted the tree, which coincidentally opened up a hole that led down to this room. And you can see this original entrance to the cavern in this very room, all the way up over there, where a piece of corrugated metal is now blocking it off for the cavern's protection. Right up there. You can get a better look if you come a little bit closer. Now, around the time when Oliver discovered the cavern, America was being put through the ringer. We were suffering through an economic crisis widely known as the Great Depression, and everyone was struggling to get by at the time. This event spurred the president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, to sign the New Deal, which eventually led to the CCC's creation. Their job was to give people jobs and allow them to earn revenue. So as soon as they caught wind of the caverns here, they saw an opportunity and then took it, and started to employ folk to come down here. Now the workers who came down into the cavern would earn about $1 a day, which then accumulated to $30 a month, which was worth a lot more during the Great Depression era, considering money was extremely difficult to come by. Now, they would not only earn revenue, the workers would also earn free food, water, shelter, and even education in return for their labor, which made the whole ordeal a pretty good deal. How about that? The workers would work on the caverns for about 4 years, beginning in 1938, before wrapping up production down here and opening this place up to the public in 1942. And that is the story of how the caverns here came to be.
Did any people die when they were digging?
Not that I know of. Hopefully not. There you go. Now, there's probably been another formation here in this room. I'm of course referring to this strange-looking rock in the middle of the room. Now, this rock here goes by many, many names, but we just like calling it the Rock of Many Names, for simplicity. Now, the reason why it earned that specific title was because the workers who came through here back in the day, whenever they weren't paying attention, they could occasionally accidentally trip on the rock and then immediately slam their head against the stalactite here, which would stir up a lot of emotion from them, leading them to call the rock many names.
That's good.
Yeah, a lot of names I cannot say out loud down here, especially with the kids around. Alright. Now, after I went over all that, some of y'all may be wondering why the rock is still here to begin with. Why didn't they just get rid of it if it was causing them so much trouble? Well, the reason why the rock stuck around was actually very simple. They found a very good use for it. They would tie a rope around this rock and use it as a tether point to make their way back to the entrance whenever their lanterns went out, which was pretty easy to do down here in the dark, damp cavern. If their lanterns ever went out and they were submerged in total darkness, they could just follow the rope back to this point and be safe. And a lot of movement from the rope is actually what sent the rock down to this weird lump shape to begin with. Yeah. It probably deserved it too. It was a very big jerk back then. Now it's a little jerk. Alright. So, we can go on ahead and make our way down to the next room along this ramp. Please, as always, watch your head, watch your step, and be very, very careful as you make your way down. This room here is what I like to call the room of imagination. That's a SpongeBob reference, by the way. The reason why I like calling this room the room of imagination is because whenever you're in here, you can imagine yourself a plethora of things. Like, for example, a nice 3-course meal. You can start off up there and imagine yourself a stuffed turkey. 2 legs, the body, you even have the stuffing in the middle. Stuffed turkey. For a healthy side, you can imagine yourself some carrots dotting the ceiling. And then, for dessert, you can imagine yourself some nice sweet potatoes. They're sweet because they're coated in sugar. And after one is done eating their imaginary meal, one can watch an imaginary movie. It's a niche little indie title. Not many people have heard about it. It's called The Titanic. Right over there. See the shadow against the wall? That is the Titanic. All right. Now, I just have a question for everybody here in the room. Do any of you want to see the ending to this film?
Sure.
Show of hands. There we go. All right. Let me go ahead and get my singing voice on then. Songs to the ocean. Thank you, thank you. I worked really hard on the singing. All right. Now, we're going to continue a little bit further into the room. Watch out for these stalactites here, as well as a large puddle in the middle of the path, okay? So, stalactites, large puddle. Stalactites, large puddle. Now, we're going to be passing by a very special formation down here inside the cavern. It's this unique looking column right here. This is what I call the touchstone, mainly because this is the only formation inside the cavern that was set aside for people to be able to touch. Yeah, you can touch this thing. You can go ahead and give it a nice old hug. You can give it a massage. You can play patty cake with it. Yeah, whatever you can think of. That does not involve your mouth.
Yep, right where she stepped. Right where she stepped.
My neck was willing to be a little.
That one's gonna actually right. This the cooler room?
Both of these rooms are the cooler rooms. But y'all, if you can look on the wall right next to me, you can see the tri-colored bats.
Oh wow. Are they all over Florida?
Yep, this is the native species found here in Florida.
Hey, bud. Keep your finger there. Right.
Yeah, just kind of shows how big it is.
People are always scared of bats.
Yeah, bats. There's a real common misconception with bats, being that every bat has rabies. Only 1% of bats carry rabies.
Wow.
So getting bit by a bat is already really, really low in itself, the chances of it, because they don't like biting things. It's one of their only two defense mechanisms, by that flying away and biting. So they'll rather fly away than bite and stay there longer, risking themselves to get killed. But getting bit by a bat and getting rabies is almost 0% chance for how low it is for both things to happen.
Wow.
So bats are commonly feared for no reason, but the common superstition is that they all have rabies. More dogs have rabies than bats do. So, yeah, like more wild animals that are more stuff like dogs, cats, foxes, raccoons. They have more chances of having rabies than these little guys do. So they are feared for no reason, but they will continue to still be feared because of folklore, folk tales.
Lack of knowledge.
Yep, lack of knowledge, vampires.
Right.
People are terrified of vampire bats. But the only case of a vampire bat ever attacking someone was because it was it was basically when it started death of it. It was on like death's door of starvation, and it had to get some blood in them, so it attacked someone. Other than that, there's only been maybe one other one, but it was also starving to death. So.
You're so
Okay, y'all. As we go through our catacombs, make sure to watch your heads, watch your steps. And when we take a picture of the bat, you guys can walk down past that column and keep on going straight down that way. Just found this one here. He'll move in the next couple weeks, probably.
Oh yeah, duck. I'm looking down, not looking up.
All right, so everybody, this will officially be a wrap for a tour today. As we've managed to reach the exit, back to the outside world. I hope y'all have had a wonderful time down here inside our cavern, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. All right? All right. Thanks so much for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy the tour.
Thank you. Oh shit. Oh man. Most tightest place I've ever been in. What the fuck? Bro, I'm exhausted. But that was an experience. That was an experience, man. I literally had to run a whole mile, bro. That's the first time I ran in a long time. Like I almost missed the tour that I drove all the way down here to go see. But I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Pretty nice little experience. It's like I said, it was something different. You know, thank God I got to see another year. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't like really celebrate my birthday, because I feel like, you know, when you think about it, and you know, a lot of people say happy birthday, you know, how old you are, it's like you start to appear older, you know, you start to, you know, feel like you're older. But when you don't acknowledge it, it's like, you know what I'm saying? You feel young, you look young. So I don't really like celebrating, but this was just something to do. It's peaceful, you know, I'll do it again. You know, kind of make me want to go explore other, like, you know, caves and caverns, you know, maybe some, you know, Tennessee or, you know, somewhere up north, West Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Like I find like just joy in this. I don't know. You know, it's way better than a relationship, I tell you that. Nah, I'm just playing. But yeah, man, that cave was small as hell, bro. Definitely wasn't made for tall people at all. A lot of places I had to duck and crawl. So now my back is kind of hurting. But good thing my car, you know, got a nice little backrest, so I should be straight. Probably don't drive all the way home. I got enough gas in my car to probably get all the way home if I just drive at least 67, you know, keep the speed under. I should make it home without having to stop and then probably get something to eat, you know. I don't know. Maybe chill there, call it a night, watch a movie or something, you know what I'm saying? Probably the best. If y'all still watching, you know, up to this point, I appreciate you guys for supporting me. You know, it's something I always wanted to do. Start a YouTube channel. You know, I'm not necessarily caring about the followers, the subscribers, the likes. I just want to be able to do what I enjoy and love and make content and, you know, share my journey with you guys. You know what I'm saying? You know, it'd be cool to just look back at it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I'm like, damn, that was me.